it's not going to be easy. This was a very arduous process today, a lot of questioning. Remember, you have 4 defense attorneys that have to each ask their own questions, plus the prosecution team. Let me give you the latest numbers. They got through 16 total juries. 5 of those were cut, so right now they have 11. They're trying to ultimately get to 66 people who can say that they can be fair and impartial, and then they're going to cut it down from there. Now, just a short time ago, the defendants and their attorneys left federal court here, and we just caught up with Kwame Kilpatrick's attorney, Jim Thomas. This is what he had to say about the questioning today.
I mean, we have jurors that are coming forward and they're speaking honestly about what it is that they're thinking and what it is that's going on in their lives and how it is that this trial is going to affect them in the next 4 months. I mean, that's fair, and I think that to the extent that they're expressing themselves, it's an appropriate thing.
Now, this extensive jury questioning focused a lot on the jurors' exposure to the media, how much they'd heard about Kwame Kilpatrick and his co-defendants. And surprisingly, a lot of the jurors that we heard from today said they really did not know much about Kilpatrick or the case, and many of them did say that they could be fair and impartial. And of course, we knew that this was going to be a factor based on some of the previous issues in the Eastern District. Race is going to be a key issue in selecting this jury. Only 2 African-American jurors were questioned today, and both of those had to be let go for cause. They both made it very, very clear they did not want to serve on this jury. Other questions about people's attitudes on race came up, and whether it was okay for minorities to get a leg up when it came to city contracts. That, of course, is a direct reference to what we're probably going to be hearing about those water department contracts, which the feds allege were used to enrich Kilpatrick and his pals. And this jury questioning has really given us kind of an insight as to maybe what some of the defense is going to be, at least with one defendant in particular. Victor Mercado's lawyer, John Minnick, literally asked the same 2 questions of every jury, and it was very indicative of where they're going with this.
He asked 2 questions. One, whether or not they've ever heard of his client, in hopes that the answer is no. And secondly, do you understand that my client is entitled to an entirely separate trial from the other defendants, although he's sitting here? So they're trying to separate themselves and probably minimize his position, which is what he should do probably under the circumstances.
Mercado, clearly, as we know from previous court filings, is really trying to distance himself from his co-defendants. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out once this trial finally gets underway. On the whole, Kilpatrick, Bobby Ferguson, Bernard Kilpatrick seemed fairly relaxed in court. At one point, Kwame Kilpatrick seemed really frustrated because one of the jurors, the microphone wasn't working, nobody could hear her, and he kind of threw his hands up in frustration. But on the whole, they were laughing a little bit, being comfortable, and they were playing a very active role in talking to their attorneys during the questioning. A lot of notes being passed and forth, being passed back and forth. You know, obviously probably saying, ask this question, ask that question. So a very long day here at court. It starts again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Reporting live at the federal courthouse in downtown Detroit, I'm Heather Catallo, 7 Action News.